One of the reasons we do this on the work session is Andrea takes notes. It's easy for her to take the minutes. (7:30). Okay. Thank you for being here tonight. Tonight's the work session for the town board. And it is July 12th. We skipped 1 week, and so next week will be our regular agenda meeting on the 19th. We just had a couple of people on vacation, so we didn't go the first week for here. So what we do in this meeting, this is a very casual meeting. I have a list of topics to talk over with the board, and we chat about things, and then we build the agenda for the meeting next week. So you guys are our guests tonight, and we really appreciate you being here, and thought that you could help everybody understand the issue that you guys have been contemplating, and then let us know how we can help, So I'll turn it over to Dan. Do you want to speak for the group?
Okay. Yeah, Dan Richards, the chairman of the board of the fire district. As you know, you had a letter not too long ago for to have the town take over our ALS 24/7. That was generated by the discussion. Two things. It's that we were one of the few people around the area that doesn't have 24/7 ALS unit. We do have a rescue squad, EMTs, but the ranks are getting a little thinner on that also, and that's caused some problems. But right now, our ALS unit is 12 hours a day, 7 days a week during the day. We don't have an ALS unit at night. So the problem with that is that everybody around us has got ALS. So our ALS has sometimes they come out of the city of Poughkeepsie, or they go other directions. If they don't have a commercial unit, sometimes it falls on Millbrook. It can't fall on at night. It can't fall on Beekman because they refuse to reciprocate with us because we don't have one. So and legally they can do that in ALS unit. So in the discussion before the letter is that there's always been this talk about that the fire district can't really technically go out and contract with a commercial agency because technically we're not supposed to be able to bill. The agencies are not supposed to bill the patients. It's been going on for a number of years. East Fishkill does it. Beekman does it for years. So we felt that to be on the right wavelength is to be legal, is to the town take over because legally they can do it. We can't. So the decision was to send a letter. And at this point now, the information that Betsy got and Brian got, we're in a little bit different situation, and we have a meeting tomorrow night to discuss which direction we would like to go in. So that's where we are right now. And we weren't trying to be, we were not trying to shove this off to the town, but other than the fact is that the legal thing, and our attorney's advice is to do it. We felt that, at one point we were going to do it, but then again, if somebody starts to get a complaint about it, because there's people in town that do have a voice of opinion, and you know who I'm talking about. So all of a sudden we could be in a dither with the state. So now with what information you got now, our big concern is the legality that we can bill, like we have a commercial agency beginning next year, 24/7, that we are going to be able to bill. And I guess that's, if Brian, you want to step in on something, talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to start from the beginning, as Dan said, that they run 12 hours a day, ALS, and then 12 hours a day BLS with their volunteer ambulance squad. Their numbers are starting to dwindle, and they're having issues with manpower only because of work schedules, EMT hours that you have to put in. To become an EMT, you need 180 hours, and then after that you have to continue with your training, and you have to have 30 hours of core classes, and you have to have it within 3 years. So it becomes hard for somebody to volunteer in this day and age, especially if they're working one job, two jobs, the way things are today. And there was several options out there. One option was to remain the same, which would be run 12 hours ALS and 12 hours BLS. The next option was to hand it over to the town, to let the town take over the contract and and just move whatever funding there was that they had for the 12 hours over to the town, so they could contract for 24. Then you could go back to the district and say, okay, the district could run for 24 hours, 24/7. But as Dan says, you can't legally charge with having a contracted ambulance in here. So the other option that Betsy came across, because I gave him Joe Farrell's name up to New York State Department of Health, was Joe Farrell is a wealth of information. He's been there for years. He's getting ready to retire in August. He came up and told us, he says, well, there's other ways and other avenues to do this. And I didn't, when you called me and we discussed it, and I says, no way, this isn't, right.
Yeah.
But they have changed it. New York State Department of Health has sort of let things get a little bit easier for people to deal with. And what you can do is go to your medical director with a verification form, have them sign off that you want to go to ALS service. And then you're going to provide New York State and a regional office saying that you're going to go with ALS service. But you can take your certificate to operate that Unionville has now and move it over to an ALS system, but still continue to run their Unionville Rescue Squad ambulances, but contract to a third-party vendor that will continue to operate. They'll still operate as a Unionville Rescue Squad, but there'll be a contracted vendor that will respond with the ambulances. You'll have to pay for the manpower. They're able to build the insured person, so there's no legal issues there. And it's actually a great way to continue and still show that the Unionville Rescue Squad is still out there. And plus you have your EMTs that can respond to calls and still help out, but then they can go home and get their rest, get their sleep, and get ready to go to work in the morning. But they can also become a second ambulance in the district with their secondary ambulance and still run the secondary calls. If the ambulance is out on a ALS call and another call comes in, then you still have two ambulances. The volunteers can take it over and run from there. So there's actually some options there that they have to decide. The Board of Commissioners need to decide what they want to do, but there's several good options that they can do.
Yeah.
So.
But our biggest thing is the legality and making sure that it's exactly what we can do.
Yeah.
Right. And and that was, like I said, that's the only reason it generated the town to take over, because we've been hearing all these years the town can do it. And all the like Mania, Dover, East, Northeast, they all do contracts with the town, not with the fire departments.
Yeah.
So
They're
it's,
all
but the difference between us and them is that we've always had an ALS unit, either 12 hours, 5 days a week. Now but we've been doing this for years. So we basically were already into the system somewhat. All we need to do is go the next step further.
Yeah.
So that's what
Well, that Joe Farrell told me that at this point, the town and the district are on equal footing. So we can't do anything for you that you can't do for yourself, because now we're on equal footing. And he said all these companies out in Long Island are calling them, they all want to train, they want to become districts now, because then they can do what you can do and work on your own. So, that way we work side by side, we'll help you in any way you need us to, but you're in a unique position because there aren't that many districts of towns our size. So you're kind of in a I think that really helped a lot, because the way they set it up and those law changes really benefited you guys.
Yeah. And there's a few things that they'll have to do. The fire district would have to send out an RFP. They'd have to work on an RFP so it's properly worded, that they would, I don't know how they're going to do it, but maintain the ambulance. They're going to, a vendor would bring in somebody in contract, and they would take care of Article 30 of all the medical medication and everything that they have to maintain it, control it. And, so the Unionville Fire District doesn't have to do anything. You
Yeah.
know, just let the contract vendor run everything, run the ambulance. And then take care of it from there. So, I mean, there's different things. It's not complicated, but it's gonna take some time and some paperwork to fill out and, you know, letters to be sent out, RFPs to be brought in, contracts to go out, and a lot of reviewing that's gonna have to be done.
And that's why we're in a position now because of the scheduling budgets.
Mhm.
We've got to be prepared for it for budget time. And obviously, our taxpayers are going to be seeing a substantial hit because of the way it is. I mean, because we're going to go an extra 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, so it's going to happen. You know, it's either the town does it or we do it. And if we do it, it's probably, you know, we'll do whatever we can to keep the price down, but we can't control. It's hopefully the Northern Duchess gets on board with us. Because I think overall, I think we're a better fit for Northern Dutchess because Dover and Millbrook are all in that whole area. We can be reciprocating to each other all the time. And with Empress, they seem to be going around and increasing the budgets like crazy.
Mm.
Maybe we were, John, we
Yeah.
went to 12 hours a day. We got
Yeah,
like
we got
a
hit.
rude awakening on that, you know.
Yeah.
We had to reduce our budget down, even, and also include tax increase that year to get those 2 12-hour days.
Right, I remember that. Yeah,
You know,
you told us. Yep.
yeah, they wanted $103,000, I think, at the time then John talked to them about, when we went down to 88,000 or something like that, they dropped it down somewhat. But,
Still high, yeah.
Empress is really, and we don't even know, they might even take over Northern Dutchess one day. I don't know. They seem to be,
Yeah, they're trying to buy mobile life.
Yeah, and also, just so everybody knows, not only are the volunteers have issues with staffing and because, you know, just like Dover did, we had 38 EMTs, you know, years ago, and now we're down to 8. That's what we're down to.
well,
And it's everybody. That's the time, you know, this is
Sign of the time.
2023, yes.
Yep.
Sign of the times. And not only are volunteers going through it, paid services are going through the same thing. They're having problems staffing paramedics and EMTs. Because a lot of them can go out and get a better job or get a job comparable that you don't have to really sit there 24 hours a day.
Yeah, much better hours and much better working
Yeah,
conditions.
and wait for them.
Less stress.
You know, Dana Smith tells that story all the time. He's got now 3 people in the 911 center that used to be out on the road, EMTs. They come in there and take that job with their benefits and all that and
And it's better pay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so for them,
Can't blame them.
less dangerous, easier. Yeah, so
So
you're right.
that's why it's that's why it's hard to get paramedics and EMTs because of the pay that they're receiving. And, you know, until the county finally wakes up and has a countywide ambulance service and, you know, gives them a nice salary, you know, and gives them a comparable salary to what's out there today and gives them better options with medical and dental and everything else that they can come up with.
It's a real
Vacation
career,
time, you know, and retirement. So one day, hopefully the county will come up with that plan and then we won't have to worry about it anymore.
we keep talking about that, but that's
Until then. But until then, yeah.
Can I ask a question, just because I don't completely understand? Say if the town does take over, right? And now we contract out with our own volunteers, right? Through Union.
No, what
right?
you
No,
do
we
is
hire
contract.
professionals.
Paid service.
Oh,
Service.
we could only go to a paid service.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's basically all paid, just
Then it's all
one way or the other.
24/7.
Well, we still keep,
Oh, either or. It can't be a joint type of, I was thinking that if the guys if you guys are suffering with the amount of time to put in, then the PM hours would be able to contract it to a paid service. And during the day, it would be as business as usual. No, that's not
Right now.
Right now,
Just during the day, we're paid from 6 to 6.
Everybody
Okay.
is working.
And that's,
Okay,
the overnight is what there isn't to sell because of lack of.
So basically Unionville ambulance, the volunteers become a secondary ambulance.
oh, it's a second, we would now be a secondary, just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case there's a,
Okay.
in case there's a second call in the district, in case there's an auto accident where there's
Okay.
additional ambulances to come in.
Okay.
You still have your volunteers that can bring that ambulance to those calls.
All right,
That's how.
but then if it's billed to that particular situation at that time, right? Or whatever, whoever was that services,
Yeah.
that billing would go now to the town and that would offset.
No, no.
Pay for the service.
Ambulance,
Oh, they bill
they
directly.
bill direct.
No.
Okay,
99% of people in Unionville got insurance.
Right, yeah, it's,
But the problem is, Perry, is there's not enough revenue when they bill for patients. So you have to subsidize them by paying them so much
oh,
a year
so that's a regular
to be
thing,
here.
okay, to
And
be
then
on
Yeah,
standby,
they
and
estimate.
then as they do their duty, now they're compensated for that.
Yeah, but
Okay,
they estimate what they're gonna make from patient.
yeah,
call.
okay,
And the difference.
Oh, I
to
see.
What they want to, what they need to make is what the town.
okay, all
charges
right,
pay.
all right, now I understand,
for the taxpayers.
yeah,
So, I mean, I think from preliminary conversations with people that, first of all, everybody thinks you guys do a very good job. You know that, and you're meticulous and, you're smart, we know that. And you've done your homework, because you did try to do this a year and a half ago. You know, you knew it was coming, and I think that helps, spread the word a little bit, but everybody, I've not talked to anybody formally. We haven't sent anything out or anything, but just saying, that we're going to talk to the fire department about 24/7 ambulance service. Oh, we don't have that. Some people don't know we don't have it. And then those that I said, no, they have 12 hours, 7 days a week. And, but now because of dwindling volunteers, I mean, they all know what the schedules are like. They're going to go to 24/7 and they all say the same thing, which is, well, we got to have it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a advantage to advanced life support too, where the fire department, EMS rescue squad can provide basic life support. So it's very, CPR, it's very basic, no medications. Where advanced life support, now they can give you shots. Somebody has a stroke, they can start the clot buster right away. They don't have to wait until you get to the hospital or catch a paid person on the way to the hospital instead of the medications.
Very
So
important.
there's benefits, but it comes with a cost.
yeah.
So if it costs, what, $200-300, I mean, I don't know how much it's gonna cost at this point, but if it costs my family $300 more a year, I don't think we wouldn't complain. I don't know. 200.
I don't know, but I think you should do some research on what LaGrange is paying. Taxpayers are paying LaGrange Fire District. And that'll
Well,
give
they're
you actually
100%. That's a five.
understanding what a.
Yeah, they're all
that's
paying,
the-
and
Because
they're.
the only difference between in Arlington or LaGrange, they don't charge because it's a fire district paid service. So they're basically paying their paramedics and everybody, so they don't charge the insurance companies for the
Yeah.
ride. It's already part of the,
But they're also both fire and EMS.
yeah, but
right now.
LaGrange right now
EMS
does,
for now.
they got 3 ambulances going all the time. And they are running a lot of ambulance calls.
Wow,
And they, when you've got paramedics, or probably by the time, if you got any years in it, you could be up to $100,000 a year. And all the, the benefit package that goes with it. It adds up to a lot of money.
so what's that other fire district in East Fishkill around there that they have like so many calls a year that they don't have to, that the calls themselves are paying the bill? Who's that? Is it
Roundabout.
Roundabout.
Yeah, but that's a whole different area down there. But they've been doing this for years with a contract. They on their town bill down there, they have an actual tax bill. Like Wapengers, Roundabout, New Hackensack. They have, most of those that are down there have an actual tax thing on their taxes every year. And they've been doing that forever. All those towns down there. Where
They're big too. They have a lot of.
everybody, and they don't have to deal, none of them deal with EMS down there. None of them.
Towns do.
The towns do. Town of Wapengers, town of Fishkill,
Right. The population is so dense that
Yeah.
there's enough
Yeah, there's a lot
revenue
of
for
calls.
patients
Sure.
pay the tab.
Just on the calls, isn't that amazing?
But East Fishkill is basically being hit, that they have a ton of calls down there. But they still are maintaining a BLS unit that goes to a lot of calls. But they also have a paramedic that's manned also, but they complained, the commercial agencies complain because they're not getting those BLS calls too, because the ALS is, the BLS, the volunteers are taking that money away from them.
Yeah.
So now basically
Yeah.
they're charging East Fishkill money too, out of the taxes to pay for the supplement of the not getting all those calls.
Yeah, I can.
But
see
they are
that.
still getting a lot of calls. believe me.
A lot of
East Fishkill has
management
got a lot of calls.
But that, if you had that contract, you would be in control of dictating that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could manage things like that.
And
We're
then-
doing it now.
Yeah, right,
And
so,
then- Then the other issue is, it's all based on the amount of calls that you have in your
Yeah.
district.
Mhm. Yeah,
I don't know how many ambulance calls Unionville runs a year.
probably 400 and something,
400, which
400 to 500.
well, on the website, it said last year was 753.
That's everything.
That's fire.
that's
Oh.
fire.
Yeah,
That's fire too.
ambulance.
But
Oh.
the ambulance is probably closer to 500, and probably 200 of the.
Fire, okay.
So,
Probably half.
so what happens is the ambulance has to be subsidized for sitting here because they're only going to 500 calls a
Right.
year.
yeah, it's gonna be standing there.
And if
the
people
whole time.
refuse medical attention, they don't get paid a penny.
Oh,
So
really?
what
Yeah.
about, and I'm sorry
That's
for
true,
not
yeah.
knowing this, but can you link up with another town and just do a share of service, or is that out of the question?
Well, I think
To
it's,
to run into a
it's sounds great.
Yeah.
But look at the landmass we have.
Right.
I mean, Unionville is a typical, we have two firehouses on the extreme end of the town.
Yeah.
So let's say we contract like nights with Millbrook,
Mhm.
right? Where's that ambulance gonna go from Millbrook? Because they have a big landmass too. So where do you put the ambulance?
Yeah.
To cover all.
Yeah, I'm
the
just
night-
wondering,
even
I'm just
nights-
throwing it out there. just
We
wondering.
tried to,
Yeah.
it sounds like theoretically it would be good, but it's not practical.
Yeah,
I mean,
So,
what
I,
happens too is if Millbrook has a call and their ambulance is out, it'll roll over to us, we'll assist them on the second call.
yeah,
So stuff like that happens.
Yeah, and they forget when ours goes to theirs. They remember when theirs comes here, but they forget when ours goes there.
well, they did say they were interested in hearing if there's economies of scale between the village, the town and the town of Unionville.
Mhm.
Because they, a couple of years ago, when we talked about this, Dan, is it Ed Murphy, the guy that
Ed
runs?
Murray.
Ed Murray. Oh, so he said that the village of Millbrook is very similar in their calls to the fountains. And a company that had both of those could easily, that's good revenue for both a company, and then they could cover the other. I get that's a manpower question, so I don't know if he would still be interested, but maybe if you do an RFP and they respond and that's attractive, that's great. If you don't, you just do.
I find that everybody in this area is on their own. You can't, yeah, great, the Fountains is our big call section for, we go there quite a bit during the week and even at nights. But you have just Millbrook take that over and then the rest of the town needs that ALS service just as well as anybody else.
Oh, yeah, no, I meant that he
Yeah,
didn't mean
yeah,
to separate like that. They would be covering everything.
And-
Well,
and-
doesn't Dover do anything with them? Who are you doing something?
We,
Dover,
we
Amelia?
have shared services with the town of Amelia, Millerton and Dover.
It's a big area.
In Northeast, who's with
Yeah,
Northeast?
That's northeast.
Okay.
That's a big area.
Yeah.
So that's who we have shared service.
How's that working out?
Actually works good because unfortunately Dover has about 1,122 calls a year, just
Wow.
ambulance service.
Wow. Hmm.
Wow, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
so when we run 1,122 calls, we're actually bringing town of Amelia in quite often. And each year that I've gone to the town board, I told them when this contract ends, we're gonna need 2 ambulances in the town of Dover.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was gonna ask how many ambulances you got.
We have one right now.
Wow, for that big of an
Yeah.
area.
And they still help us when we need it.
Yeah,
It's a
so,
lot.
so once this contract ends, we're gonna be pushing for a second ambulance.
So let me ask you, and I'm not trying to be unneighborly because I know you guys share and we do lots of things with the other towns too, but if we got our own service. And you had 2 ambulances and it was perfect for the coverage of what we have here 24/7. Taxpayers are paying for it, everybody's happy. Do you then refuse mutual aid because the ambulance from the southern part of the town might be over in Poughkeepsie? And I mean, do you refuse it or do you stay with it? And when do you make the decision that you're just gonna take care of Unionville?
Can't do that. We're in the mutual aid pack.
But what about Beekman? Why
We
doesn't
always-
Beekman service us?
Because you're dealing with ALS. It would not be a problem
Oh,
if we were
they think
applying
it's
for a
unfair.
BLS unit.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because that's a big
if you
service
can't,
for them.
if you can't reciprocate, people can actually refuse to come to your district.
Gotcha,
But
okay.
we always do everything we can to help all surrounding towns and districts.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We went to LaGrange Monday night for that, 4 kids in the water.
Oh, wow. That's good. I mean, okay, so
I
that
mean,
makes
most,
sense.
most people, most towns and stuff wouldn't refuse. Because, we've been up on top of Wingdale Mountain in Unionville, probably twice in the last 3 weeks. Our town of Dover ambulance and,
Yeah, they're ALS.
we go where we're called.
Yeah.
And that's something too, if you have,
Yeah,
if you have, an
very
emergency-
helpful.
if you have an emergency at your house, you're calling 911. And you're waiting for an ambulance. If Unionville's ambulance is out on a call already. you're waiting for an ambulance, you could go second call, third call, they start calling neighboring districts to come and help.
Yeah, which is
That, you know, you
beautiful.
can't just not
It's a
respond.
good system. Oh,
Yeah,
if everybody's doing it.
but in total, there are not enough ALS units in the county right now.
Yeah, it's really
Take
hard.
care of every
Really,
need.
Yeah,
I
that's
assume you've already
real
talked to the
tough
county
right
about
now, the
that,
county.
whatever you're.
Yeah, there's a thing going.
It's been going on for a long time, you know, the ALS
They
service.
won't commit because of the costs.
But if everybody pools, you know, still pools the money, it's still.
It's a lot of money. that
Not
could be
within
paid.
reach, I'm sure it's millions of dollars. but,
Just
But if everybody's
just
already
staff
paying
alone.
for it now, and then.
You know, and then the infrastructure of ambulances, you know, that they would have to have, there's a rollout that they have out there that they could do tomorrow if they wanted to, but it would probably take me a year to get it up and running.
Yeah.
It seems like all our adjoining towns are in need for
And just to
an
find,
upgrade of what
Yeah.
what it's been.
and just to
always
find
say
that
shared services.
manpower to, you know, for EMSs, EMTs, it's tough to find, you know, I'm hearing it through the county where they're running out of people, out of
Yeah,
ambulances,
medics.
out of EMTs, you know.
Yep.
They're telling, like, I heard on the radio the other night for Unionville, it said for our EMTs to go down to the station just because the volume of calls in the
Yeah, be
county,
ready to go.
there's not enough stuff to respond to. So it's a very dangerous situation.
I mean, once in a while, I mean, even calls where they're dispatching for an ALS unit to come to Dover, they're coming out of Rhinebeck.
It takes a long time.
Yeah,
but, you know,
You know, it's
And-
minutes and
and
seconds matter.
And that's when all the ambulances are out on the call. And that's all our shared services, that's all our neighbors, that's everybody. So it's ambulance services is at a critical point right now.
wow. So we can take care
So
of.
the
it
big
there.
thing with what's happening is like, say, our nighttime, we don't have an ALS unit now at night. So when we get dispatched for a critical situation, priority 1 or priority 2, the county dispatching goes on and they start looking for a commercial unit, say in Poughkeepsie. And then they'll say that Empress doesn't have anybody available. They'll say that, and this goes on all the time, Northern Dutchess doesn't have anybody commercial, not Millbrook or Dover, they just don't have one up in Millerton that's available. And who else? I mean,
Yeah.
they go to 3 different agencies, banging them out every 5 minutes to
Ambulance.
get it one.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the poor guy is having a heart attack. Now, if we can get on board with 24/7, is to get our mutual aid pack together and we get Northern Dutchess, we'd like to be able to get on board with Millbrook, Dover, Amelia, Northeast, that when that call goes out, and if our ambulance is out on a call at night, our ALS unit, they automatically call Millbrook or they call Amelia or Dover. And instead of just looking for a commercial, we need to stick together as a group.
Yeah.
And they do that with you and
Yeah.
Amelia do that
Yeah,
all the time.
It works.
But we need to get it refined for us with Dover and Millbrook, right?
Yeah.
But that's all internal, the chiefs and the towns, everybody's got to agree on that, because then the county is told, this is what we're gonna do.
And they set up the call pattern now.
So everybody now is on board, so like now, instead of waiting for 3 calls to get over, and then all of a sudden they're calling Millbrooks 49. All right, it automatically is gonna call 49, so it stops all this
That's good.
wasted time.
You know, or you're waiting for an ambulance to respond out of Poughkeepsie, sometimes it's 15 minutes.
Right, exactly.
20 minutes.
You know that.
Person's
Yeah.
not time to
You
get.
got,
So, you know, it's gonna cost the taxpayers more money, but we're gonna get a better service.
right.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to push out, and I'm gonna be very, we're not trying to push out EMTs. We're trying to do, and that was what, we're trying to come up with a better solution for the overall, for the taxpayers and the people that are looking for that service. And the time has come, because we're stuck in the middle. We
Yeah,
don't have anybody else, Dover or Millbrook, LaGrange, Beekman, they're all 24/7.
Stanford now.
Right.
Right.
We're right in the middle,
Sanford will be going.
and it's
We're
hard.
going,
And they're so covered up with calls, they really can't spare them.
right, and then we're the aren't we the last
know-
one? Sounds like we're the last one.
They are.
LaGrange won't come to us unless we, they'll say, we'll go if you actually call us, we county
request them
can't ask them to
directly.
come.
Oh, they have
We
to call
have to
directly.
request them.
And it's not uncommon to have 2 calls in a
Yeah,
district too,
right,
where,
right.
you know, your ALS is already on its way to the hospital now. You need a second
Yes,
ambulance.
because they've been having wars with ALS units. So they've been having wars in, what do you call it, Arlington and LaGrange
Yeah.
with ALS. Yeah.
Well, what can we do to help you? You're gonna have your own discussions. You're gonna figure out what's best. we know you're gonna do what's best for the taxpayers. We're not worried about that,
Well,
but
we
we
should
should
have
be able to help you
some-
communicate or something.
Tomorrow night, we have our meeting tomorrow night, our
Work session.
workshop. We will go into executive session and throw us out. We've got Brian coming and we have our attorney also going to be present. So,
Oh, speaking of attorneys, that Joseph,
Farrell.
Farrell was
Yeah.
great, but he was the one, and I didn't realize it's such a specialty. That's why some attorneys, town attorneys and fire district attorneys don't pick up on some of these changes. There's only 4 law firms in the state of New York who really understand this medical law, the EMS business. They said 4, period. So that's also a very limited group. So your attorney may be getting in touch with one of them if you have some questions and he's not sure, because
Well,
that's it.
But I would recommend that Rod and Dan, give a call to Joseph Farrell and
Yes.
discuss it with them once they discuss it tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's a great
Because
idea.
Joseph Farrell is a wealth of information.
Mhm.
The one thing that he wasn't sure of, he said, I'll call you right back. He called one of the 4 law firms. He has the guy on speed dial. He called back in a minute and answered the question. So I mean, he's really in the know.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. So thank
He
you.
is.
Well, we're here. You guys are gonna figure out what you want to do. You let us know how we can help. Do you guys, I mean, we're all on board with whatever you decide. I'm sure we would be, and let's help you out.
What's good for everybody.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a cost with it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's a service we have to provide.
Yeah,
Now. So the companies that we're gonna solicit, say going forward, wouldn't it look to them as an advantage because we are at such a low in the whole area that they would be responding to many more calls other than just Unionville? Am I?
No,
correct with
what
that?
what happens is when you contract with an ambulance service and they're here.
Mhm.
They're dedicated.
They're
Oh,
dedicated-
to our
they're
town.
So they
dedicated
can't go out to a
to-
neighboring town?
They can,
Unless they're called under mutual aid if another ambulance is out.
but they
Like-
can't
like
bank
say-
on, they can't bank on that.
but
Yeah.
They can't, no, they won't use
They
that
won't
as
use
like,
it.
wow,
No.
okay.
they're stationed in our houses, they sit in our
They have to
houses.
stay
They're
there.
gonna, they're gonna use your number that you have here, whether it's 450 calls or 500 calls. That's what they're gonna base their cost on.
Okay. And that's it, nothing.
That's it, yep.
Well, a year later, if it was better, or yeah, they could adjust it up or
Yeah.
down depending on what
Yeah,
actually happened, maybe. So it's
A
like-
lot of times, once you get into this situation and you do go 24/7, you're better off to sign a 3-year or 5-year contract.
lock it in.
Yep,
Mhm.
lock it in with a 3-year with a 2-year option, or just do a 5-year altogether. Because what happens is year to year, you're always gonna
You're-
get that big increase.
Yeah, you're always gonna go up.
So you're better off to go
Mhm.
with at least a 3-year and a 2-year
If
option.
they'll do that, yeah. Good. Well, good luck.
okay,
You let us know what you want to do, okay?
okay.
All right, thanks for
All right.
coming in. Now,
All right, guys.
Brian,
Okay, guys. See you,
Take care.
Brian.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
John, thank you very much.
Nice to meet you guys.
Thanks for coming down.
Oh, that's,
Pretty interesting.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really interesting stuff.
I mean, it is, ambulance services, it's a business.
Yeah.
So you would think that.
Problem,
That's,
it all gets back to Medicare. They pay so little, that starts the
Yeah,
ball rolling down.
that's right. Yeah,
So companies that have tough time making profit. It's not
Yeah,
a profitable
yeah,
business.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
call by and I mean, there's.
Yeah,
only so
and the
much we can
majority
bring
falls.
on.
But the other thing that I don't understand, is it a law that, is it? Because there's all this legislation pending in Albany about trying to twist this to make it better. But one of the things is this lift assist stuff at the fountains. So they go over there and somebody's on the floor and
They're
no,
not allowed to help.
they help. Now, see, that's odd to me if they have nurses on staff. So then our ambulance would have to go over there.
We have to lift them up.
But we wouldn't have to send an ambulance in that case. We could actually send the EMTs then.
No, we send it in. It's
Just in
because
case.
you don't know what their condition is.
Oh, okay.
I remember going there one time on a Christmas morning for a guy that fell out of bed. Well, when we got there at 6:30 in the morning, he was fully dressed, the bed was made, and he was shivering, he was freezing. They didn't cover him up. I said, you mean he fell out of bed, got dressed, and is still on the floor? They wouldn't admit, he was there all night.
Oh, they wouldn't.
And a lot of times we act as just a transport for them to go to the
Yeah.
hospital.
And they require anybody that falls to go to the hospital. That's their rule.
That's the fountains rule.
Whether the person wants to go, the person can refuse, but that's their rule. They have to go get checked out. So if they fall, we're taking them in.
Yeah, that's the way it works in the city. They're all like, don't you dare take.
It's
me to the
all to
hospital."
protect themselves.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's a local rule. In New York City, the doorman comes and listens.
Yeah, well,
They don't, nobody is gonna go to the hospital in New York.
What are you doing at night? So we can put you on the schedule for Ross.
Yeah, it's just, there are some weird
There are
loopholes like
weird
that
things, right?
that won't allow them to manage it well, or maybe even give the
Well,
parent.
there's homes that have all these answers
It's all
to
lawsuits.
minimize their
I
risk
remember
and
we
lawsuits.
got a call.
Yeah.
for stuff,
Pass them off to us.
The snowstorm.
We have a lot more
It's
responsible-
outside.
Mhm.
Responsibility to patients than they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of disturbing.
Any
The
issue
ambulance could be
involves-
gone
any-
for a lift and,
What
yeah.
we gotta do.
It's kinda
Yeah,
scary.
you get a call.
You can't refuse.
Well,
it.
once we
Yeah.
understand this, we'll start lobbying Albany and then we'll see what we can do. Okay, well, that was very interesting. They're meeting tomorrow night, so we'll hear about some more. I looked at, I looked at, the tax rate for the fire service this year was $1.43 per thousand, per unit.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
I mean, I would guess to say their ALS portion is gonna double, because right now they're 12 hours, 7 days a week. So
Mhm.
It's gonna at least double.
Yeah.
so when I did the
that's
number,
reasonable.
it was about $1.80. It might be when I, just back of the envelope type stuff.
Yeah,
And so you're
That
talking,
covers fire
So
and
it's
any EMS.
40 cents more,
so it would
per
mean, no,
thousand,
it's, yeah,
right?
it's, yeah,
141.8.
yeah. So let's say, that was me running.
But that's, like I said, that's fire and EMS, so
That's the whole
that's
budget.
the whole. So
Everything.
if
Right,
EMS
she just calculated.
but like I said, if EMS takes up 3/4 of that,
Well, I added what I just guessed would be, and I added it to the total budget, and it means the 180 would be, again, back of the envelope, but for some people, that's $200 a year.
Yeah.
Some people, it might be $400 a year, but I'm not sure that it's gonna bother people.
but it's a service that you have to.
I think
provide.
they,
Yeah.
Have to provide.
people expect it.
I'm thinking some people think we
Once they
already have it.
expect it.
Yeah.
And that's the worst.
And if
thing.
you need it, you don't mind having it.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're sitting
And-
there waiting for an
Oh,
ambulance to
yeah.
show up and it takes 20-25 minutes. and
Right.
That's a horrible situation to be in.
Terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And imagine being the spouse of somebody, remember?
You're trying to talk.
Remember when the
to
cell
them.
tower was out and that man was driving along? He was
Yeah.
panicked. He thought his wife was having a stroke, which she
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Deep smoke section. And he was driving down the road with his,
No, I'm trying to get a signal.
trying to get a signal, and he finally got 911 when he was a couple of miles from the house, and the Unionville Fire Department got to his house before he got back. Just from that call he was making, but he said he couldn't believe it, but they got her to the hospital and she ended up being okay. But that, she did have a stroke.
She might not mind paying the 200 more.
I think if the residents found out how limited the services are right now, they would be apt to
Yeah.
say, you know what, if that's what it costs, that's what it costs.
And if it's a nationwide problem.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
But
real.
you also object families. I
They're-
can assure you,
They're probably
Yeah.
40% of the calls. Is the balance.
but the people.
But
have
they
families
help our
object.
numbers, according to Ed Murray, they actually would help
To the
our
tax
numbers
increase.
with the totals, because they have.
I know.
That's right.
So, like,
They're-
those companies
They
actually
don't care
like
about
that.
anything but money.
So they'll actually help us, the
That might be a
residents.
benefit. to-
Yeah, that's what he said.
The residents would not mind, but the owners of the fountains would mind.
Yeah, that's okay. You know what? We gotta take care of everybody.
That's insurance, I mean, doesn't really matter,
No, but I'm saying their taxes would go up.
Oh,
Yeah,
exactly.
everybody's
That's what
taxes
they're
are gonna go
Well,
up.
what I'm saying, if they're going to the fountains, they're gonna be billing the insurance.
Right.
They'll be able to recoup, which will hopefully lower the cost of the service.
No, not necessarily, no. Why would they?
No, if the ambulance service is billing the patient from the fountains.
Yeah.
Insurance.
That's not gonna affect the taxes.
But you would think that would lower the cost of the service.
But they'll
Well, that's
quote
what I
it,
asked.
they'll
It's
quote it
a-
in advance. They'll
Yeah,
base
like
it on.
Brian said, you probably
calls.
sign up for 3 to 5 year contract.
Got it.
Thank you.
But you're thinking, I'm thinking if they're making money there, taking somebody from fountains billing, it should be, the overall cost of the service should be less.
But that's what John was saying earlier, that they look at all those things and that's how they come up with
Before
the
they
figure.
quote.
Right.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
They quote.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've already figured that out. Well, we're only gonna make this on the other side.
Kevin, I've been involved in a lot of years. It never goes down.
Yeah, oh, no, I know it won't go down, but I'm hoping that will work in our favor.
I hope
Well, I
so.
think Ed Murray said it will when they analyze the whole package, but when they analyze the whole package, they come back with a number. We're taking that number,
Yeah, I mean, we're
Right.
low call, but
Yeah. exactly.
Low volume.
Mhm.
Well, it sounds like they're gonna be working hard on that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna need us to do other than communicate to people, but I don't know if you're at those.
I hope
meetings.
that's all you need us for.
Yeah, I mean, they, it sounds like.
Back in their lap.
They've got it nailed. Yeah, they've got it figured out. And I think this is a better way. You guys you had that email. Did you read the one that I sent?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, so this email, what was good about this is that I think they like being in charge and they're better runners of emergency care than, so it worked out great that the
well,
rules.
they
were
know
changed.
better than us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this
is
gives
their-
them the opportunity
Yeah.
to run it and we don't have to, so to speak. So I have extras if you guys want it. All right, let's get on with our list here. All right, we have two important things. I've got all this stuff in the wrong order probably. All right, one is, now, just to make sure it's clear to everybody, we noticed this meeting 2 weeks ago, right, Andrea? That we might take action tonight, and we were lucky because we do have to take some action. And that is because, can you pass these? Let me just divide them up. The highway truck is in dire need of a fix, and it broke down and it's sitting idle, and they want, this is the surplus first, I'm sorry. All right, let's do surplus since I passed that up. Two highway department items tonight. One is, these 4 items, Ed would like to put in the auction. And, they're not using them anymore. And when you read the further description, there's like a tiny hydraulic leak in one of them. And these are very old pieces of machinery that he said that have been sitting around. Look at the spreader from 1988. So the dollar amounts I put in there were Ed's best estimate. He said, maybe,
What we would get at
what we
auction.
might get.
Yeah,
But he wants them off the property. He says they haven't been used since he got there. And then clean up a little bit more, and it brings in a little more cash to help cover some of his other stuff.
Yeah.
So we have to declare it surplus.
yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, because
The
he,
boom mower, I think we replaced, that was one of the things he got.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right, can I have a motion to declare these 4 items surplus? Is
So,
there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of this? You want to have any
Aye.
discussion? All in favor?
could I just ask one
Yeah,
question? Sorry.
discussion.
So this pieces of equipment, he wants to now put into his budget to replace?
No, he wants to
No.
just get rid of them.
They're just sitting in the back.
Doesn't need
is
them.
this item
Doesn't
stuff
need-
that's?
Oh, okay,
this is
Those are
under-
one we replaced.
okay,
Yeah.
One we replaced.
He's gonna get rid of
Sits on the property.
okay,
his predecessor.
He'll
just
get the
like
cash.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
All right, so, no, for any further discussion? We've got it. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No one's opposed. Okay, the
By the way,
motion,
I'm sorry.
the motion to declare these 4 items, which will be included in the record, so that people know what we surplused, passed. We'll hand that to our town clerk, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
So,
Thank you, Andrew.
the other plow truck that we got with the, when we got the 2 plow trucks.
Yes.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
The more beat up one
Right,
turned out, in Ed's words, to be a better truck. It just
Wow.
looked like it was in worse condition.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, let's leave that truck. The truck is beat up. I'm like, I went over the truck, I looked what we had to do. And I felt that it was way worthwhile to fix up that truck. So I now have that truck.
Oh,
in the
very
shop,
great.
And we're doing that truck over
Nice.
now.
So
So,
is it
Very
just
nice.
kind of limited to like the outer stuff, the skins?
yeah, all the body's completely rotted. So however, I don't know how they took care of the truck. Why the 2 were so
One was inside.
similar.
One was inside, the other
Oh,
side.
yes, this one is really,
This is
looks
the
like it's been
outside.
sitting out.
How's the frame, in the second
The
truck?
frame is beat up, but nothing, it's all surface stuff.
Solid.
It's solid. So it'll be better. It'll look similar to the other truck.
Was
But-
it one on the runway where they don't use salt?
That's probably what it was. This
Both
one,
of
this
them
one,
were on the runway, but one was garage. This is what I
They-
remember. One
I
was
think they
garage.
both use salt because they
Yeah.
can't stand on the runway. I don't think. I think it's all salt, straight
Oh.
salt.
All
But
right.
one was inside and one was stored outside.
Right, exactly.
well, long story short, we're doing that truck over and that should be his better truck.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Really?
Oh, he's
Yeah.
gonna be so excited.
Yeah,
When he was
yeah,
taking it down there. He was all.
he brought it down. So,
Any estimates on what the cost?
oh, I don't charge anybody.
Material, nothing.
All I charged last time, well, I didn't charge. I asked for I bought some steel to extend the chassis.
Yep.
For the new spreaders.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Ed put that in his budget and he paid Duchess Metal directly
Oh, good.
for that. And then I think we paid or we cut a check to sandblast all
Right.
the bolt-on exterior
That
parts.
was another vendor.
It was
Yeah.
like $600.
Yeah.
So I didn't charge anything.
Well, it's good. We got a second truck for
Yeah,
minimal.
Very nice.
both for $8,000 now. We
Two good trucks.
Yeah, two great trucks.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much. That's really.
So it'll be done in about 15 years, the truck.
I know.
As soon as the electric passes, it'll be.
That's right.
Okay, the second item in the highway department for tonight is that repairs are needed on truck number 14. This is the one I mentioned before, that's sitting. And I think, Mr. Councilman Durham, can you explain this, why?
So I did talk to Ed about this, so he's got a problem with the deaf unit. And you know, too,
Yeah.
those deaf
And
units
night-
are a nightmare.
Yeah.
But you're stuck, I mean, we're a municipality, so.
But what I didn't realize.
Those old
this-
trucks don't have that stuff. So
Yeah, I
we're
know.
good with those.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know,
Why can't
we?
it's a town truck, it's driving on things. Why can't we eliminate the system?
Can we just declare an emergency?
I don't know.
Declare an emergency.
Why can't we?
The stuff's on back order.
Oh, it's on back order to repair it?
He said, I think there's
So why can't we override it?
But what, override what?
the system,
The
This is
system,
not
is-
there.
the common.
Filtrations.
well, it's a common practice.
They would have to program it at the dealership.
That's it. Yeah, that's-
I don't know, you can't do it at the dealership.
It's shut
It would
down.
have to be a secondary.
Some of the, I think Peterbilt was doing it because they have stuff on.
So you
back
have to-
where they were
that's- so that-
overriding it.
this is-
Find out.
Is a system.
Okay.
So they
Put
would do it
basically
through
a mold
computer.
into a
Oh, and
computer.
they have to do
And
it on
it has
internet.
injectors and it shoots it in.
As soon as
Stops
possible,
a lot of the emissions.
Because they were.
Right? You don't see all the.
Yeah.
All black.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, but if we
Right.
could save
Red.
this, and it's always gonna be,
$9,500.
it's gonna be an ongoing thing.
They just did it.
I don't think. it's-
Just- It was 25 hours.
Brand new truck. Yeah. These are blue, like the.
They're going,
Really?
so the new
Yeah.
systems
miles
are
on it.
going to
And
like,
like furnace in a blue.
the new
related to this
equipment
system. This is. I
is
think,
going
all
to
the
reach
injectors.
out.
Guys, it's simple.
Sorry,
Just
go on.
one at a time.
But yeah, but so it blew up and it done. Sometimes they don't last long. They're not, the systems are not perfected. They're
But
not.
you can look at this, I mean, I was saying that.
More of a
It
political
was
sound than.
25 hours
Yeah.
to install a new.
Yeah.
Say
Like
what
how-
you did,
Look
but
at the
So
company.
expensive.
It's like it's like part-
I mean, that's.
And the
this
piece is expensive because it has like rare metals and stuff, and that's why it's $6,000. They're very
And he
expensive.
found the last one in the country, apparently Bucky,
Oh, yeah.
this guy was calling, this kid Brian, no, he was calling all over the place and
unless he goes down the Bronx.
it's a $200, $250 to deliver it.
I think.
Back of the truck somewhere?
We should, I said to him, I mean. He's gotta get it, but. So.
You, I want me to check on that
Explore-
tomorrow.
I thought-
Let's
to
approve
Greg
it,
about it.
and then if he can do anything
Yeah.
else different.
Yeah, agreed.
Let him do it.
Okay, I will check on this tomorrow.
He has a cat.
So.
Yeah.
Let's make a motion to approve this, and then if he finds another solution,
But be specific about the motion if you don't.
to spend.
What are you saying, Kevin?
9,500.
$9,250, approved $9,250, as estimated by Bucky's Ag Repair to repair the truck. Truck 14, is that what it is?
Truck 14.
Truck
Truck number
14.
14.
Okay, I'll second.
Any other discussion? I think we have a choice, it sounds like.
I mean,
Nope.
you don't have it, sure,
All right,
he can adjust to,
if,
it's a viable option,
okay,
right?
that's fine.
well, I'll find out tomorrow legally and stuff,
Okay.
what we're allowed to do, okay?
25 hours, I think it's gotta be buried.
That's it, I had to take the whole thing
And it's only
apart.
21,714.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Open, you know.
This is an ongoing issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had nothing but problems.
killing a lot of trucking companies.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So we gotta do all in favor.
This won't be the last time you see this bill, is what I'm saying.
I mean, if
That's
it's every
terrible.
27,000.
I know.
When you do the math, I mean, it's $9,000 every 27,000 miles, so.
And the
It's
worst,
a lot of money.
and the worst things with these two is if you idle, you sit and idle.
Yeah.
They say it's better to run down the road. but
Yes.
Retarded trucks.
That's
do a
the
lot of
problem we
idling.
have with the other diesel, the little diesel.
That's why we got rid of the truck in the
Yeah,
park.
they're better to run real hot down. the road.
Really?
Yeah, you're better off just driving across.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they tell you not even to idle if you're not moving,
Yeah.
shut it off,
Shut up, yeah.
which is, it's just the way it is now.
All right, it's just a shame.
It's just tough.
All right, well,
Always
so we'll
hot
check
out.
on,
Oh, we're freezing cold.
let me just check on that tomorrow,
I
okay?
know those guys, they just sit in the truck with the heat on. Just say.
There's some machines where it'll shut down if you're idling for
They do,
5 minutes,
yeah.
it'll shut down,
It's
and then the battery dies because it doesn't kill the ignition.
Yeah, or like some of the.
Some
things you
but
have to
when
have.
those are running, it'll shut off.
All right, I think
Actually, ignition.
it's enough discussion. Can we have a,
Batteries.
oh, we don't need a roll call vote. This is just a, may I, all in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? No? All right, so this motion carries to repair the truck, and I will do the homework tomorrow to find out what we're allowed to do to avoid this. Okay, 2 things for highway. Thank you very much.
To avoid it.
Next up,
Legally.
so Nymer Insurance, going through the process as per usual this time. I'm trying to get it done in July this year instead of, so basically, if you don't mind passing that, you don't have to do anything with this. What I do with these is I send the trucks, we have this is what the insurance company gives me. Just so you know, this is not my Excel spreadsheet or anything. This is what they send us. But basically, we look at this list, we compare it with what we have, make sure they didn't miss a new one, which they don't seem to. Make sure they didn't take off an older one. And we just double check everything. And then we have a separate Excel spreadsheet list of all the tools that we own, things that we've gotten rid of, like anything like this, these 4 items from surplus will be coming off another list, as well as this one. So this is the type of year we double check all this stuff. So if you see anything on there you're questioning, let me know. I sent it to Jake and Ed and had them each, told them today, please check your vehicles. And then we can check it with our master list.
169. Did he agree with the pricing?
These
With the
are
estimates?
replacement values,
I guess.
Right?
I don't know what they give us.
Oh, yeah, it has to be.
I don't know.
Some-
Yeah.
Gotta be.
so high.
Yeah, is this 100%? These are the values within, right?
Of
Of
these
what they deem-
properties?
Yes,
Yes, but I think that we're on replacement value for something.
it's replacement value.
Yeah.
Correct?
Do they not insult and insure the salt shed?
169
Should be. No,
They
the salt
just
itself,
paid us
no.
that money.
No.
It's number 8.
$1,500
I
bucks
think
for
it's the
salt.
number 8 at the
It says
bottom.
it, $1,500.
Says
for
it's worth
contents, yeah.
169,000.
But
Oh,
salt,
okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, well,
but salt,
Then,
even if the building fell on it, it's still
Still
good.
good, yeah. You burn
Gotta
a
dig
building
it
down,
out.
it's still good.
As long as it don't get wet.
You just gotta chop it up.
So anyway, Nymer's underway and we'll be double checking trip. If you see anything funny, please let me know. But that's what we're doing now with the departments. And then tomorrow we're spending hours working, trying to get a salt shed grant done. We're just John, we're going to be duplicating what we've done before to get it in before the end of the month.
Yeah,
And I think with Tom Harvey and with the insurance, and then whatever we need from Brian Skorlik, he already told me that that would be no problem. We'll submit that, see if we can get a grant for the salt shed now. It's just, it'll be the 3rd time. If they turn us down, I can't believe that. We will all be shocked, but it could happen. So, but anyway, so Nymer's underway. MVP and CDPHP are 2 insurance companies that we kind of every year we requote those 2. I asked them about NISHIP, you know, that New York State company. But the weird thing about NISHIP, it's kind of like dealing with the state retirement. They have no broker. There's no broker allowed in the middle. So I can't even imagine our office getting crippled because everybody has to do everything that it has to do that the broker does for us. We tell him what we're looking for, give us the quotes, tell him how many people, we need the quotes, and then do homework. Are there any other good deals out there? We have them do all that work. We don't have the manpower to do that kind of legwork. So we're gonna go back to the same 2 that we've looked at the last few years. I told him to look for if there's any other companies that are competitive. We want to see them, but we're getting quotes on those 2. Those are still coming. We finally found a phenomenal broker that intercedes and takes care of us. And we love this guy. We love the company. They're very professional. I mean, they do meetings with the employees and stuff. So we're finally happy. And it's been 3 years now. And I don't know, everybody, they'd kill me if we tried to give them up, but the insurance reviews are underway. We have a new dog control here. I don't think I emailed these. We're going to vote on this at the next meeting. So if you could take a look at this, we want to go to Mutt's Mansion.
sounds good.
We'll talk about it at the meeting so all the residents understand that this is the document. Mutt's Mansion's in Wappingers Falls. And Andrea,
Sounds
And-
lovely.
it
Yes.
is the best. We had the best feel. We loved this place, didn't we, Andrea?
Send relatives there.
Really, yeah, they were really terrific.
So this is to replace,
The one we had.
the one.
High Park.
H
H
bars.
Yeah. Okay.
That didn't work out so well. I don't really know. There's some woman that was brought in to oversee it and not great. And also what their prices tripled.
I was gonna say that bill the other day, $500 and something for 4 days.
One dog,
Yeah,
and they did everything, and they didn't talk to Mary Jean about it, which is okay, I guess, because our contract was running out with them. But anyway, Mary Jean really wanted to go see these people and the three of us went over there. We were really impressed. They care a lot. Their prices are reasonable. They may have to raise them. I was looking at their prices. I thought they were a little underpriced. But next year they'll learn and they might have to raise it again.
Mhm.
But they've been in business for a while. They have a thrift shop
Where is that?
right on 376.
By the Summerlin Plaza.
Exactly what I thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
nice people.
They're wonderful and
And they love animals.
That's
they
what.
love it.
There's just
Yeah,
no
they're very, you can feel very confident with an animal leaving.
This
it.
lady was great. So not only the owner, but Mary Jean will have her cell phone.
Yeah.
And Mary Jean will have her own key to get in and out of there to bring a dog in.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Oh, that's great.
That's what you want. Mary Jean has to drive it
Yeah.
over there and she said, normally she'll drop everything and she lives 2 miles away.
Yeah.
But if for some reason I can't drop everything, come over there, you will have your own key, you bring the dog in, they'll tell her which,
That's the best, yeah.
they're really wonderful. So we're pleased. I did send it like all contracts. I sent it to Jeff Battistoni. I said, take a look and let me know if there's anything that's a red flag for you. We'll vote on this at the next meeting, so it'll be on the agenda. Okay. Escrow fee schedule. Now, I know this was a lot of information. You got this before. So basically, we had the 2023 final master fee list that you guys, everybody
Yeah.
voted on. All right, now on the last page of that, there were some escrow discrepancies based on the fact that our multifamily residential is no longer there except for the maximum of 12 units that we put in. And so instead we have multifamily for maximum of 12. And then we have townhomes, we have single family homes and 2-family homes in our new code,
Mhm.
right? So we need to make this match up. So I had given you guys based on legwork from Mary Ann and I think all Mary Ann. But anyway, do you remember this? You guys have all this stuff.
Yeah,
If you don't mind, these are from Clinton and Amelia. If this is interesting, I'm gonna have George look at it too, because people like George, it is interesting to see how the people are charging. If you could look at this, call me tomorrow if you want them again, if you've lost them or you misplaced them or something, we'll print them out for you again. But it is good to see what the other towns do, but we do have to adjust. My question to you, I was just curious. So this says $1,000 per unit up to 20 units for multifamily. So we're gonna get rid of that because now we're maximum of 12 and that's
Yeah.
apartments. We define multifamily as apartments, right? So does it really matter? I mean, I see some much lower fees in here than from other places. But
Talk about that.
yeah, and some of them one of them was higher. But I'm just wondering for single family townhouses, 2-family, and then a maximum of 12 units of an apartment, from an escrow perspective, is there a big difference, do we think? In how much energy is expended by the lawyer or engineer or whatever? I'm just wondering if one's
12
the maximum,
unit
yeah,
to a single family. And it's what, $1,000 per?
yeah. But it says right now it's 1,000 per unit. Up to 20, we're gonna say up to 12, but
and what are some other towns?
Well,
Basically,
I mean, they don't have it written out in the same way.
What was the rec fee or?
The escrow. fee
Escrow
For
fee.
lawyers. and-
Oh, I
and
yeah,
consultants
for
and
planning.
things like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
That the applicant pays, but we have to make sure we cover their fees, so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so what's a single family? How much?
So a single family is $1,000.
$1,000.
Mhm.
I think it
But
should be way
a single
less.
family would only be coming in. For what, some sort of special use? This is for.
Or a variance.
This is for all escrow. This is the escrow fee schedule for everything.
So
it's
they
just
have to
that-
give $1,000.
so zoning and planning, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Just
part of the
up
subdivision
front.
per unit.
Right, but you wouldn't get for. All right, I got it.
This is just for
For-
Jim Nelson. Or
Yeah.
Tom, or even if the town board, if somebody came to the town board and said, I would like you to change the code.
Yeah.
Like Steve Arnold, I don't think it makes sense for me to have asphalt for 1,500 feet.
Yeah.
Because one section is above 8%.
Yeah.
That kind of thing,
Yeah.
and we decided that made sense and we
That
wanted to change, then they would have to pay escrow for our lawyer doing that work too.
Yeah.
So it's anytime the town uses consultants for that applicant's
For their
interest,
benefit.
yeah.
We just have to make them put up the money so that we know. they
Yeah.
have the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to pay for.
So we're
You're trying to chase them. for
And then
money.
we give them back what's not.
Yeah,
used.
what's not used.
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean, we could leave it the same. for
it's
all.
hard to say because every project
They're all
is
different.
so different.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden a 12-unit place needs a wastewater system. or
Yeah, it
something
could-
like that.
it
that
could-
is So
They
insane.
could go for 3 years.
It's
through the
hard to
process.
say, you know what I mean? I would.
Well, let's
leave
study it more. We're not making. the
Because
decision
you're still gonna ask them for money. As escrow.
As it goes down,
If escrow complete
Yeah.
to a certain percentage, then they have to re-up. Yes, so, you know,
Yeah,
as long as you're not chasing them for money every 20
Which-
days,
yeah.
which that's, you know,
that's the worst.
that's the worst, but.
Okay, so if you have the stuff, take a look and then
Yeah.
we'll have a discussion next go around.
I think you'll be all right.
And I'll have time to talk to George. You know, George is out. His father, I think his father's dying. He's in
Oh,
Virginia again. Yeah. He left yesterday. And said he'll be back when he can. His sister said, come. So he's down there. So,
In Florida again, right?
no,
They moved
that
a lot.
father-in-law, they moved up here. Virginia's where his dad now is with his sister.
Okay.
So she's been taking care of him, so. All right, so that will be on the agenda next time. I emailed you guys today, Tom Harvey's drawings about the soccer fields.
Yes,
He's coming to the meeting. Ed's coming to that meeting and Jake is coming to the meeting. I had sent everybody those pictures so you guys could look at them. Tom made some comments in there that we'll put it up there like this, that he didn't do he hasn't drawn out, obviously, the new piping system or whatever we want to, you know, have.
Drainage.
The
The drainage,
yeah, how
yeah.
that's gonna be, the new drainage, but he, you know, because he said you gotta look at the fields, they look pretty tight. Do you want, you know, anyway, so it's gonna be a good discussion, but everybody will be there, because Jake's got a vested interest, so does Ed. It would take a lot of excavation, and that Gaelic field is really big. It's kind of interesting to see it plotted. So anyway, that'll be on the agenda. Cemeteries, John, we have to talk about this, I think. I think it's just for a minute, if we could talk about the cemetery issue, because it could be important to the town. So I did speak with Lizette today after she wrote us this letter that you saw last time about the 2100. She
oh,
said,
yeah,
actually, I said, Lizette, listen, we have our regular meetings next week. And I said, I'm not sure we're prepared to answer you, because you know, one of the resources I called said that we just can't out and out just give them $2,100.
oh, I agree, I think we shouldn't even deal with it.
They said that we could, we'd have to formally make a donation.
Yeah,
And when you make a donation from a town like that they're supposed to come and sit down and give us a 5 or 10 year plan on what they're planning to do to improve their financial situation.
I think we gotta let the new trustees kind of get their feet wet and hear from one of them. That's what I feel.
Well, she's only got 2 more lows left in her budget, is what she.
I know, but the fire company's been giving her money for years subsidizing, it.
Yeah,
but even that's,
well, she's got at least 3 people from the fire company on her new trustee list.
yeah,
So that's,
so I think things may improve there.
okay. So, then I'm gonna find out who is gonna be working on the money. Because when I called today, and I learned all about New York State's laws, and these are people that manage money for, she hasn't taken that 10 to 25% out that you're supposed to take out and put aside for every burial.
Mhm.
I called her today and I said, what's going on with that? Because that could be money that would be used. And she goes, I haven't done that for years.
Yeah, and she should, of
She's never done that. I don't think she knows the rules.
course she does. She doesn't, she's just putting her hand out, looking for money any way she can get it. To buy
Yeah,
time.
But that was
Yeah.
a lot of money, Jim. But-
Over
so-
years.
So the money was just turned over to the state, the money that
No.
should have been,
No, she
No.
doesn't turn over to the state, but she has it in accounts that the state oversees.
okay,
They watch it, and you're allowed to take out only a certain amount, but she hasn't taken it out.
okay.
but
And
not only that, she doesn't have to put it in. Like, what they were telling me today, that, and there's some information on cemetery regulations in Europe, but basically there's a law that says that for every burial you take in. And she just doesn't know this. I mean, you know, it's just one of those things. For every burial that you get, 10%, and this guy who manages money for perpetual funds, he's got some really interesting, you know, he helps and works with cemeteries all over the Northeast. But he was telling me that it's 10 to 25%. The law says on here 10%. So he said they always urge people 10 to 25% of what that burial costs. You put in this trust, you're not allowed to take out the principal,
Mhm.
but the trust is supposed to grow to
Okay,
create
Take a
perpetual care. So
Yeah,
10 to
to
25% comes out.
yeah, no,
So that's where your ongoing
Tree
fees come
so,
from.
so she also not charging enough?
she's not charging enough, and she's not taking out what she could take out.
Yeah,
They have cash assets, I think, in excess of 100 grand.
Like the people told me today, she goes, am I allowed to tell you? And I said, I mean, I guess we could foil it. And she goes,
Public information.
She goes, okay, I'll tell you. I said, okay, I mean, it's one of those, I said, we can just foil it, whatever makes you comfortable. They have $100,000 in a CD
See,
and they have $26,000 in the other CD, but the $26,000 CD is the one that's in perpetual care. That's the one that's supposed to be growing all the time and kicking off excess income that you could appeal to get. And that's 26,000. I said, so when I called
What are you
this,
gonna get off of?
Yeah, I know.
she hasn't been putting any money in. So I said, Lizette,
Yeah.
did you put, she goes, no, I don't do that. I haven't done that for many, many years. So that thing is a 26.
So then the money that she gets, you just use for maintenance.
Yeah,
basically?
But like, they need a new fence, the fire company spent
They-
20-some thousand
they
dollars
paid
for
that,
that,
that white fence that they got, you know, the one that had been,
blown down.
the old
Yeah.
one was wooden and peeling.
Mhm.
So that was great that the fire company did that, but I think then I said, well, Lizette, like this company manages them more aggressively,
Sure,
even the trust money. So I said, you don't have to be in, I said, you're in CDs in a really great interest rate environment for recouping some of that. She goes, well, one's coming due in September and they can deal with that.
yeah, they can take some of that interest,
I know.
pay for more.
And they needed somebody who understands.
How long, it's just sitting at 100,000 and it's. is it
It's
kicking
getting, what
off
does
now or
the
no?
CD get? 2%?
It's not pennies.
So I mean,
Yeah,
what
it's
do you-
not-
what do we
We're getting
get?
5% in our,
I don't know, but
it might not even get,
she's
yeah.
not managing it effectively.
no.
But I'm saying, she's got new trustees now that are, I think, gonna improve things. So I would hold
So
off.
would you like me to write them a letter? I got their names here and say that the town board received this letter.
Mhm.
And that we thought that maybe it would give them, that we'd give them time to
Yeah,
get
so-
in there and we have some, actually, we have some information we can give them.
And refine their request. or something.
And then come back later after they've had a chance to really study it.
Yeah,
Okay, that would be a nice letter and I don't want her to think we're ignoring her,
no,
but you're right, they need time. There's 8 of them now.
yeah, they gotta digest all that info and see what
Yeah.
they can do.
What changes they gotta make in.
Yeah,
Yeah, and some of those people gotta be good at money. Okay, I'll do that. Let me just make a note here to write this letter. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the vector upgrades that we want to put in. So the vector upgrade, so we really, normally we go to bid and there is another company, Doyle, that's coming in. Have you seen their signs around town?
oh, yes, yeah.
Doyle has been.
Yeah.
So he's coming in. And he was supposed to come in, but he had a medical emergency, so now he's coming in later. It's taking longer than I wanted, but he sounds very nice. So he's gonna come in, but I have to tell you, my view is we're gonna show them everything that we have. And for them to rebuild, like we put that special unit down in number 2, which is more commercial, since multiple people were living
Yeah.
there. And what was that, like 12 grand or
Yeah,
something?
it was a lot of money.
We're not, we're not gonna rebuild on any of this stuff, so I just am wondering what it's like, these guys, what they're gonna be the back office, they might be able, the service center. I don't know if the equipments don't mesh, they're gonna try to sell us hardware and we don't.
We don't wanna buy all that again.
We don't wanna be buying hardware, so in this case, I think we're gonna rely on that best value procurement system where after we talk to him, if it's not the same. If they can't work with our hardware, we're not gonna reinvest in the wheel, right?
Yeah,
So then we can fall back on, it's best value for us to stick with the same company
Sure.
and start getting them to, to implement it. And if I have the information, I'll let you guys know. But otherwise, what are we gonna do? Buy all new panels, all the wires, everything's been
oh, yeah.
done
That
everywhere?
would be way too
Yeah.
much.
That's probably the beauty of that business. It's a cash cow.
Yeah.
Sure.
They know they got you once.
Gotta have it.
But anyway, we'll see what this gentleman says when he comes in. I'll let you know. And then I think maybe we'll be equipped to make a decision. That'll be on the agenda. The AEDs. So we had that shooter, the active shooter. And then we talked about trauma kits.
Mhm.
So we're working on getting trauma kits. Andrea's hard at work with Mary Ann and myself. We're gonna have a meeting and pick tourniquets and do all that and get all ready. So for here and down in recreation, we need them. So we'll get all that stuff set. Sean Lewis sent us some help.
Mhm.
But our defibrillators are, oh, sorry,
It's all right.
Lisa didn't make noise.
I gotta put something important.
No, that's a friend. But the defibrillators are all manufactured in 2003. The one here and the one down in the park. So a lady, a nice lady had sent me, a lady in this business, sent me quotes. And while we've been carrying that on the budget, I thought it was $2,300. And I think Andrea thought the same thing, that it was 23. That's what I'd put in the budget if we ever had to replace them. She said that she works with municipalities all over the state of New York, and basically there's a municipalities tend to get the mid-range, not the high end, because they never use them. She said they just rarely use them. So she said the mid-range would be fine. It does not have to be hooked up to the fire department. She said in your town, that when the fire department walks in, don't they know where it is? And I said, well, yeah, they would. She goes, okay, then you don't need it hooked up like in a,
Yeah, and the fire
a big
department
facility.
carries an AED anyway.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't need to spend any extra again.
No, we don't.
Do we get them tested like yearly or anything?
We were,
Okay.
and George said that he wasn't sure when we stopped, but like it was a couple of years ago, we did stop. And with the new units, what happens with, if we, especially through this, they've got Cardiac Life and Phillips. With these new units, and the nurse that I was talking to about these, she said basically what happens is 3 months before your inspection is due, they call us to tell us. They'll call Andrea and say your inspection's due within the next 3 months. And then George and Jake said that they would like to be the safety crew to make sure that that building and this building are taken care of because they're in charge of buildings.
Good.
We just need either to have the county people come and do the inspection. John Begley used to do it.
I know.
And when John Begley left, it's actually the last time we had it done.
Wow, that's
Or
good.
Tom Murphy.
Yeah.
Tom Murphy and John Begley did it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
Well, he was here one time and did it since I've been here. So I've been here 5.5 years.
I know. I say it's probably 3 to.
Yeah, I think it's 3 years.
You know, they're all batteries don't last for.
Might feel a
Yes.
shock. Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to be tested once a year.
Yes,
So who do you think, is there anybody in the fire company you think would help us with that?
I will ask.
If they will. I
Yeah,
mean, George and Jake, we're gonna put it on the calendar and they're gonna make sure whoever we set up will do it. But anyway, I thought we could also get a little help and I could call the ladies at the county, you know, those nurses that were here
yeah.
to help us pick one of these and then make a recommendation.
How much did the new ones cost?
This is $13.99, $13.90. She said the mid-range ones are between, I think she said 1,200 to 1,800, and the one she picked, this is $13.90. That's why I don't know. We might want a bigger.
Well, if these things are 20 years old, I think we ought to just buy them.
Yes.
These are new ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we ought to just buy them.
and we don't have to buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, say the batteries probably are outdated.
Yeah,
Yeah, you probably can't replace them.
and Andrea's right. The pads,
So why don't we just order 2 new ones?
And those,
we can. Okay. I mean, I think we have to because they're dead. But
and those AEDs, I mean,
is there anybody?
once you get them on somebody, they're like, I mean, the chances of bringing somebody back with an AED is like 90% versus just CPR is like 10%. So
Oh, wow.
those things are, they're
Right.
game changers.
Yeah,
Because they initiate the shock,
yeah,
where
Yeah.
you're just doing CPR
Yeah.
and pressing.
and they give you good information too.
Yeah, they
All right,
actually.
well,
they
why don't I
speak-
just,
Yeah.
I've got multiple, I've got more than 3 here. I'll get her to give us a description of which one she recommends and why, and then we can look through it.
Okay,
I mean, if we're using a nurse who sells these for a living, she works for Cardiac or one of these companies.
So what do we need? Two? or
We need 2.
three?
one for the park. one for
Yeah,
the-
one for here and that's it. Two.
Pardon?
Whatever one gives you the biggest commission.
The pool does, yeah.
Well, and is there,
I think the park one goes to the pool in the summer. Because we don't need a pool in all winter.
no, they
We only
don't
need it
keep
for
it
2
out back
months.
there. I'll check,
Yeah,
but even so, it's $1,400 versus what we thought was 23. We've already
Yeah,
got a bill.
I think it's a good investment.
And you're seeing them
Okay.
more and more places now, churches and things like that.
Yeah.
Grocery stores, you're starting to see them all over the place, yeah.
One of our members died in the church for Poughkeepsie. The rescue squad bought them one. Because they didn't have one.
Oh, wow, yeah. Okay, all right, so we'll put this on the agenda and we'll get all the information between now and then. All right, and we will make that we can
Good.
get done right away. We're gonna have, we're trying to get the 4 pieces that were never done in the master plan. Remember the environmental overlay, the scenic roads. The environmental overlay has been done. It's just been sitting there to be wrapped up with the other 3. But then last night at the CAC meeting, Josh said, because we've kind of asked them to do this work because it just saves us a lot of time. So the CAC raised their hands
Yeah.
now, but the environmental overlay was done by a gentleman a year ago. It's just been waiting for everything else. So we decided to break them apart, bring the environmental overlay, which is a map. In addition to a map, it's a document that talks about certain things. It's a tool for the planning board. And then it goes as an appendix to the back of the master plan. It's so that they can see on a map and read what he wrote about some of our sensitive areas so that they work around them and people bring in applications. It gives them more tools
Good.
because it's been done and I don't know I know we sent it around, but I'm going to send it around again. And then if nothing needs to be changed, and it looks good, then we can vote on that and start getting this stuff to the planning board so they
Yeah.
can use it. All right, so that's, okay, here's another one, British Swim Group. There's a British Swim Group of Poughkeepsie. How do you feel? They, it's too bad they don't need our pool all the time. I was dying to rent them our pool, but they work out of a hotel pool. But they're called the British Swim Group and they're members of the Chamber of Commerce. And Frank Costello called and said, look, they asked him if they could be a sponsor. If they're a sponsor, they get on his brochure and on his signs and everything. So they'd have to pay in to be a sponsor. And they said they'd like to come here in our pool that weekend. And they want to give, they have a group called the Sharks and they give,
And this is the balloon weekend?
this is the balloon weekend. They'd be one of his sponsors and they would give a demo in our pool for the free for the public that would be on how to prevent drowning. And they have some whole routine that they do. Now, it was interesting because you would think we would automatically might say no because but we closed the pool early last year. Nobody came. So Jake had come to me and said, we're talking about asking permission to close the pool again because last year we had 4 people all weekend and we have to pay 5 lifeguards, you know, for 3 days. And he said, and nobody came because the balloon festival is just too sexy. I mean, people just would rather be out wandering around. So I thought, well, we're going to allow them to close the pool. Then the British Swim Group, they could give a demo that's about, you know, how not to drown. And people from the crowds would walk over there. They'd be on the, Frank said he'd put them on the agenda. They would be mentioned. And then the only thing I have to find out from the health department is who from our, like, do we have to have Courtney Meester there because she's our aquatics director? Do we have to have somebody there the whole time, or do we not need lifeguards?
Probably would have to have somebody, I would think.
Yeah, they'll tell us.
That's a liability.
Or insurance, yeah,
And the insurance said that they would work it out with us.
okay.
So I said, just send me what we need. But I think that if the insurance is okay, they said it shouldn't be a problem, that they would work it out, but I said, I want to hear what the health department says first. So do we, I mean, is that something, as long as we're covered on the health department?
Sure, why
I don't
not?
think, it might be a good add-on.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that it makes sense to open the pool with 4 people. Janet Vale and 3 people. I'm just kidding.
How
She
much
comes.
shortened was the season by closing the pool?
3 days.
Just 3 days.
It's just Labor Day weekend.
Yeah,
Oh,
Saturday,
yeah.
Sunday, Monday.
I think a lot of kids have gone back to school.
Yeah,
You know, for athletic stuff and all that. So, all right, so it looks like it's a go, but I'll let you know what the health department says, okay? Because I haven't heard back from them yet.
Obviously, Labor Day on record.
Yeah, watch it, yeah, that's our luck, God, either that or it's raining. We're gonna have a resolution of adoption for the short-term rentals. I'm gonna send it to you tomorrow.
Okay,
So you'll have it ready. That's now with that, remember, I made a change based on a woman calling in. The change was on this piece, the operating permit.
Mhm.
And what I changed, I went to see, I said, George, because George says this permit must be displayed near the front door of the short-term rental unit during all rentals or in the window or something. And the woman said, I really don't want people knowing that I've got strangers in my, you know, so can you get rid of that part? Because she was reading this to me on, I said, yeah, I went to see George and he said, I don't need it to be showing. He goes, we're gonna have our registry. He goes,
Yeah.
just get rid of that. So we're gonna take that off. And it's not material to any of us. I'm
Yeah.
just doing it because it's, I thought George wrote it. All right, so that will come off. That'll be a change. And then we will have the resolution of adoption that you'll get that tomorrow along with this, okay? Then
shoot, we're gonna have a public hearing on that evening. right?
that'll be that evening and if we
7
decide,
o'clock?
yes, the public, yes, you're right.
Next one.
Next Wednesday, we come at 7
Mhm.
for the public hearing. And if everybody's in agreement, they like the sound of it, the woman's suggestion is well received. She's a nice lady, then we would just vote for it that night.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll get done.
Yeah.
The other resolution that I have planned right now, except for, well, I guess we can add the environmental overlay as a resolution, is the one for Tom St. Ange. And what I've got, that's the one where he's gonna be getting that back surgery. And while he's recovering,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, just changing his, it's really just I figured out in the resolution, it's really just changing his job description a little bit, so he's not working outdoors,
Mhm.
he's working in. And so I've already got from Jake and Tom, I thought I need a list of things that he's gonna be working on. So we want him to he can sit at a computer and he's gonna type out all kinds of stuff that they don't have in writing that Jake is dying to have. We're gonna put a notebook together when he comes back, so he's gonna be doing this kind of stuff instead of his favorite stuff.
Yeah.
But he
Does that really
says,
need a resolution? We have to just do a different
yes,
project?
yes,
It's almost like just going on light duty, I would think, you know?
yes. But we need a resolution.
Really?
Well, we need a resolution to document the fact that when we get audited for it, they can say that, yes, all the town board members knew about it.
Yeah.
And remember when the guy had cancer in the highway department?
Yeah, but that was different. He was not able to do anything.
Well, I know, but he still got paid and there was no record of anybody having a conversation. And so it really looked bad in the audit.
Yeah,
And I think it made Lizette look bad, and she had talked to all the, she had apparently hallway conversations with town boards. You really need everybody in the town board to understand that we're changing something and that you all have to feel comfortable. We all,
This is his job description right now, very descriptive and exactly what he has to do.
I don't
well,
think
yeah,
so.
because his job
Not
description is an outdoor job. I mean, he's
That's what I'm saying. Does it describe exactly?
But it wouldn't it just be like if somebody was put on light duty, like, you got hurt.
Yeah.
You're on light duty for 3 months.
Yeah, I think this is.
Your title
I
doesn't.
still, I want
This
to
is
do
stuff, Jake, I mean, it's up to you, but I'm just saying.
it's not any skin off anybody's nose to say I
Yeah, it's no
agree,
big deal.
because it's
Yeah.
better when the auditors see that,
Okay.
they know
Okay.
we're all in the know. That's all.
All right,
It'll be very short and sweet,
Yeah, all right.
all right, fine.
because otherwise
As long as
they,
we're helping them.
well, yeah, we're definitely helping them, and we just don't want them thinking that we don't know.
And he knows this already, right? So he's.
Oh, he knows
Good,
that he's
right?
very, very appreciative. He's like very happy. So,
I
community
wonder if
night,
it's-
Saturday
that's
night,
the laws with it, Jake.
Yeah, community night is next Saturday, right?
it's Saturday at 5 PM. And remember, it's starting at 5 because we're gonna have tables out there. So with all the departments manning tables,
Mhm.
Was Saturday, or Friday?
Saturday,
Saturday.
22nd.
we switched
Yeah.
to Saturday. And we've gotten in the permit and all the signatures and everything from Legion. I'm gonna have my car parked out where I always park it at the end there with the food from Rossi's, so that any of us want to eat, we can grab a sandwich from there, but also for the constables and people that are working. I
Mhm.
always have the back open so they can have food and stuff. And I'll do that right there. And then from 5 to 6:30, people are gonna be at the tables, and the library trustees hired a library director. She's gonna be manning a table. She's really
All right.
Megan, yeah, her name is Meg or Megan, when she goes on, she came in and gave them a whole presentation. She had a day to do it, a PowerPoint. She's digitally really strong.
How did they choose her?
Well, they had a bunch of candidates. They interviewed all of them,
Mhm.
and they brought them back, and they were asked to do presentations. They loved her. She's summa cum laude from New Paltz, and she went to St. John's, and she's smart as a whip, and
Okay.
she's getting
Major
her,
in library science.
she's getting a master's in library science.
Oh,
So she'll be over, yeah, she doesn't have to have one to be in our
Yeah.
size town, but she's
yeah, but
she's working on that
definitely more
now,
qualified.
and she's very, very excited. She walked around the place going, oh my God, this place is gorgeous. So
Good.
they're thrilled, and so that was a good thing. So that just happened last night or the night before. So they're all excited. So it looks like everybody is, and we're working on a lease for the library.
Good. Okay.
Jeff Battistoni is working on that. We have to finish that up. And I think that the main, I mean, this is from old conversations of what we talked about before. I haven't seen it yet, but the idea was that we give them a very long-term lease, because there's a lot of work that has to be done on that building anyway. And they kind of get a free ride for a while. Like, they don't have a mortgage and they don't have to pay rent. So they get a rent-free deal, but we're talking about a 3 to 5 year, it's whatever, this is a discussion, but giving them some time to get up on their feet and start, after the building is renovated, then they have to start raising their own money to supplement the operating budget, right?
Okay,
And so we were thinking that because of all of our utilities are hooked together, we won't charge them for utilities for a while, because John and I talked about this on the phone. I don't see us rewiring so they have their own electric. It's just so expensive to separate it all.
it's gonna come off the
So,
main, whatever's
the
going.
tax-
Yeah. So we were thinking, okay, so you want to do 3 years, you want to do 5 years, and then all of a sudden we start charging them for a guesstimate based on square footage or something with the
Utility would be.
the water. It's really, well, no, really, it's just electricity and gas. What is it?
Heat.
Heat and
Yeah.
that's oil. Yeah, so oil. And,
HVAC.
Mhm.
so, and then the other thing is, John, I think you had this idea that, if they rent out the library space, this is gonna be one of those like arm wrestling things. If they rent out the library space, and these are just to give you things to think about. We're not doing it tonight, but, they rent it out. Do they get to keep all the money to help supplement their operating? Or down the road, like Jake and all those guys want to work with them because it's their building and they're like, they don't want any newcomer coming in. But after a while, when things are really, when they're up and running with a brand new building, they can hire their own maintenance person.
Shared at the very least.
Yeah.
Should be shared,
Cost should be shared.
yeah.
Yeah, so right now, those costs are gonna be shared, and then that will change as need arises and people
Yeah.
think that it needs to change, but I think the utilities is, wouldn't know what to charge them right away. There's not gonna be any need for now,
Look back on a previous year's bill for that month and try
Yeah.
and make a comparison.
but they've gotta be up and running, like the building's
Yeah.
not built or renovated, and so we've got.
Oh,
time.
no, once it's up and running, it is what it is,
It'll
whether
be
they're
easy.
busy or not busy, you're gonna see a difference in the utility. bill,
Sure, yeah,
Yeah,
right?
that's an easy way to track it.
Yeah,
yeah.
No,
Good
I
point.
mean, set hours, so I think it's just gonna be whatever they use.
but they're gonna still temperature, AC and heat is still gonna be different from what it was the previous year. Right, once you turn it
Yeah,
on, it's gonna stay
Yeah,
on.
because then you're occupying.
Yeah, so it'll be pretty, you'll be able to see the difference.
So then I think if the trustees agree, it's a mutually agreeable thing, then. But we'll give them a free ride for 3 or 5 years, whatever. So anyway, that's really, that's another project that's being worked on. I just haven't. Jeff's working on it and haven't seen it. He's been busy. He's had his second son got married, like a month apart. Jeff
Alright.
Gladstone, you better watch out.
That's a sign.
Second son, a month apart, so he's been very busy. And I think that's all I have. Does anybody, you guys have anything else you want to see on the agenda? I mean, that was a lot of items, actually. And we may want to do some free work with once the fire department guys tell us what they want, which way they want to go. We should, at the meeting, have a little presentation explaining to them. Dana Smith said he'd even come and talk about the whole country and why, this is a huge, it's just a problem, but it's an expense that we kind of have to bear, and there aren't enough volunteers. I mean, he's got stats on the head. If we think that he'd be an interesting speaker to help the residents understand, then we can
I
bring
think
him
closer to tax season.
Yeah.
down.
It seems to be
October.
more of a problem up in the Northeast with you're talking about the EMS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the cost of living is too high and
Yes.
they don't make enough.
Right,
I know somebody that used to work up here, they moved down south and,
they get by, right?
couldn't afford a place up here. They got their own place down.
Yeah.
There, and they're doing just fine,
Mhm.
Wow,
but they just weren't making enough up here to pay the cost of living.
it's a shame.
Yeah, and he worked long, crazy hours up here.
Yeah.
He still works long, crazy hours down there, but he's getting compensated better. And the cost of living is cheaper.
New York's expensive.
It
All
is,
the way around.
every aspect of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I heard there was a couple of almost break-ins in houses. Have you heard
Around here?
recently? Have you heard or no?
No,
A couple of weeks ago, it was supposed to be two different houses, like,
Where,
and at night.
In this direct area.
Yeah, in unit, I was talking to Jimmy Parrish,
oh, yeah,
and he said somebody tried to break 1:15 in the morning. You didn't hear about it?
Cause I've heard where people are going through cars and stuff like that.
I heard that also.
yeah, that,
Close it was, but
that
yeah,
was-
looking
yeah,
for
back in
stuff.
May.
Leave your
Yeah,
car
no.
unlocked and-
That's right. I'm just saying, I think it's something should be said maybe at the next meeting, just to, don't be as,
let me get,
carefree.
I think
Don't be
we
as
get-
carefree as you were.
we gotta
you
get
know?
a commentary.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Let me find out.
I know, you live there for that,
Yeah.
but you know what, things are starting to
Oh.
happen.
yeah,
Listen.
unfortunately.
I have an update. Yeah, might as well shut it off, but we're really.